Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural Sports Memorabilia RoundTable. Sports Memorabilia RoundTable webinar is a webinar designed to educate and inform you about sports memorabilia. My name is Paul Gravlin of Old Stirling Village Media in Andover, Massachusetts, and alongside of me is my longtime friend and sports memorabilia expert,
Mike DeLong.
So let's get going with the Sports Memorabilia edition number 1. Just a reminder, this is a webinar. If you're not familiar with webinars, there are some things which you might know. You're muted. We would appreciate, especially for the first program, that you remain in a muted state so that we could run through it. Then we hopefully will avoid any technical glitches, and we will take questions at the end of the webinar. So let's go. So who are we? Mike DeLong has over 40 years of experience in the sports memorabilia field. Mike was a pretty smart guy years ago. When he started this, he took pictures of himself with many people. So let's see who you met over the years, Mike. Maybe you can tell us about this.
Yeah, I've met over 200 celebrities easily. This is a picture of Gordie Howe and myself at the Boston show.
Okay, that was probably taken when, Mike, how many years ago?
Oh, I would say about 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yes.
Gordie was tough.
All right, who's this guy?
My buddy Mickey Mantle at the Sturbridge show, and I met Mickey a couple of times. Real nice guy, has some real good stories to relate to us.
What's interesting is I go around looking at some of the other sites, almost a number of the sites, if they have a picture with Mickey, he's the one guy that keeps showing up on all the other
Absolutely, did a
sites.
lot of shows.
Yeah, okay. So who's this guy?
My buddy Joe DiMaggio with my family and my brother in Andover, Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to tell me it was Marilyn Monroe's husband.
No, she was long gone.
Oh, she was long gone by then? Oh, okay, all right. Well, too bad. Anyways, and just to tell you how old this program, this picture is, the young man in the right now is a practicing attorney.
Yeah.
So, and Mike was a little younger too. Brother Rick on the right there. And who is this guy?
My buddy Bobby Orr, a fantastic guy to talk to and a nice person. Just a lot of fun to be with.
Okay, and this is Larry Bird, I assume?
Yeah, one day during our webinar, I'll tell you a story about Larry, but he's actually a friend of mine. I can call him up. He will respond to me because I'm remembered as Mr. Baby Ruth Candy Bar Man.
Oh, really? And he probably eats Baby Ruth candy.
Yeah, we'll get into that some other time.
All right, okay. We'll do, planning to do our second webinar, and that will be on baseball cards. Over the next month or so, we'll be soliciting from you what type of subjects you'd like us to have on the webinar series. But next time we've decided to do baseball cards because they're a fairly popular aspect of memorabilia. So let's see what sports memorabilia is. We define it, it's not our definition. Sports memorabilia is any item or artifact which is related to a sporting event or a sporting personality, which gives it kind of a broad appeal to everybody and certainly includes a lot of things. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to cover what things are collected, where you can obtain or sell your items, the authenticity issues, which have
Big time.
Yeah, big time in the last few years, and maintenance of collection, how you maintain the collection. So let's go to the next one. So we'll talk about the examples of sports memorabilia. And just as some of the examples we'll go over tonight, we have a number: baseball cards, game programs, autographs, bobblehead dolls, statues, coins, tickets, pennants. So let's start off and take a look at some of them. And the first one is collectible sports cards. These are probably the most common and most well known to the even to the average person. Most people, or many people of a certain generation, were the ones who collected the cards. I remember collecting the cards myself when I was young. So, why don't you tell us about we go back like to the 1890s here, Mike?
Yes, that's about an 1890 Hassan, and they found on the backs of tobacco packages, and of course a lot of them got thrown away by the kids and the fathers and everything, and so if they do survive, they're worth a lot of good money. This is called the old tobacco era.
So how much roughly is we talking about here?
Well, you know, your commons can go easily for $100 or more, and of course, any Hall of Famers would be much more than that, depending on condition. That's the whole thing.
Right, it's always condition,
Like
isn't it?
real estate, location,
Yeah,
location.
right. Okay, how about these?
And that's the true examples of the old tobacco cards, the Piedmonts, and old judge cards. They came after the Heslin cards in the 1900s, and again, people had fun collecting them, and a lot of them still exist today, but in different conditions.
So if you're rummaging around your grandfather's attic and you find something like this, don't throw it away.
Right.
How much would you get for something like this, do you think?
Well, those they don't look like any ball players there because they're movie stars or they're presidents or they're famous people from the countries. But the baseball ones with Ty Cobb and Honus Wagner are just incredible.
I'm talking about Honus Wagner. That was a good lead-in.
Yes.
Tell us about this one. This is an interesting history.
Oh, this is a famous Honus Wagner card that came out in the early 1900s when Honus Wagner was against tobacco chewing and tobacco smoking for the younger kids. So he's way ahead of his time.
Yeah, I was about just to say that. He's a modern guy, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So what happened there was they started printing his card, and he told them to stop or to take him to court by law. And I guess they did his wishes, but 10 to 20 did get out to the public. And if you have one of those, you're very, very fortunate. This one's in bad shape, but it's still a nice piece, and it's worth a lot of money.
What happened to the ones they didn't use?
They probably destroyed them, burnt them up, destroyed them, crushed them, whatever.
Right. Okay. Another type of item is game programs and tickets that go with significant sporting events. So on the left, we've got what there, Michael?
Got the Mets.
In 1962.
Yes.
That was that was a game program.
That's right? A game program when the early time the Mets came into the league.
Oh yeah, okay.
Worst team in baseball at that time.
And then we've got some somewhat written on World Series tickets from 1975. Okay.
Right.
That was the Red Sox in Cincinnati, wasn't it?
Yes, that was a big one. Fisk hit that home run.
And that's Game 7. Of course, Game 6 is the famous game in which Fisk hit the home run. Let's take a look here again. We'll be moving on. Oops. So it's important if you've got that the event makes the ticket. That's correct?
Right.
So give us an example here.
Yeah, so I mean, I do this because I have a lot of fun doing it historically. Hank Aaron's home run, 714, you have the program, you have the ticket, that's great. If you scored, it's even better. Same thing with Don Larson, Yastrzemski's 3,000th hit. My father and I were there, that kind of stuff. It's really great.
I suppose if you get the ticket signed by the player.
I've done that with Carl.
And if you have somebody like Larson or somebody sign it. Now here's a football memory. If you have a ticket from this, you'd probably very unusual. Huh?
In the program.
Oh, in the program from the Giants Baltimore one.
In fact, I just saw the whole program of the Colts signed by the Colts.
It's for sale, you mean?
Yeah, very, very nice piece.
Oh, and wow.
Because there were collectors back then, closet collectors.
Right, and they never realized. Probably the grandfathers of the people will be listening to the webinar. Yeah.
That's right.
All right, and of course, if you got this one.
Yeah, and I have the program scored and everything with Hank.
Oh, you have the program?
Yes, I do.
That's worth something if you got.
Absolutely, and I got Hank to sign the Sports Illustrated that goes along with it, so that was a neat thing.
That was a good day for you?
Yes.
What do you have, what do people have, or do you have from the Bobby Orr goal?
I have a lot of Bobby Orr's materials. I have the uniforms, of course the replicas, and I picked up Bobby, so Bobby signed a lot of stuff for me, magazines, 8x10s, and of course this famous goal where Sanderson fed him the puck for the score.
Right, and a lot of people don't realize it, but Orr actually scored the goal. You can actually see the puck sitting on the, no, you can see my cursor here, but you can see the puck sitting on the ice outside. Glenn Hall was the goalie.
Glenn Hall, and I think Barkley Plager was
that the guy who was there?
One of the Plager brothers, 3 of them.
There were 3 of them, yeah. Okay, well, I want to go back to that. This tickets. A friend of mine that I worked with had I can't know how much this is worth, but he had a $20 ticket on Secretariat in the Kentucky Derby. Now, nobody knew he was going to win the Triple Crown, so most of the people probably cashed their tickets which was not true of American Pharaoh, who a lot of people didn't cash their tickets. As a matter of fact, the organization, Belmont Park, is in quite a bit of money because people didn't cash their tickets, and I guess that's all their money. All right, so how about now? This one intrigued me, the pennant collecting. I remember seeing this when I was a kid, but apparently this is still a pretty active
because
type of collection.
again, it's history significance because it goes back to the Red Sox of 1949 or whatever, and go even further back than that, or pennants of the Bruins or the Celtics, whatever.
Okay, yeah. I imagine having like Yankees.
Red Sox and Yankees, good collectibles. Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers is real good collectibles too.
Yeah. What about in football?
Football, the Cowboys, the Packers. Of course, it'll be the Patriots in 20 years from now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's true. Or the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers, Celtics.
Yeah.
Right, older stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is the one. These bobblehead dolls. Sort of. I don't know what the attraction is personally, but apparently a lot of people like these.
The attraction is the number made. Now, these are modern bobbleheads, which I don't collect. I collect the older ones in the 50s and 60s, where you're either a circular or square back, and supply and demand is very important. The less they cost more. The more they make, the less they cost. So it's a supply and demand thing, but they're nice little team mascots.
So I suppose somebody in whatever sport it is, they do it more in baseball than they do in other sports, don't they?
They did it in baseball and football. Hockey they did a little bit in the hockey with the 6 original teams, and very few in basketball.
Right. Okay. Here's Ron. He's not in the stands, so
That's a modern one.
come out of the stands.
Probably worth about $4.
Yeah. So I would think. Suppose you got a bobblehead doll and some semi-obscure player, and then he goes on to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Mickey Mantle has a bobblehead made of him, and Willie Mays does, and Roger Maris, and those are quite expensive.
Oh, I can imagine.
If they're in mint condition.
Yeah.
And you're talking $300 to $500 a piece, easily.
Okay. This I didn't know about, the sports coins. This surprised me. What's the story with
companies from the beginning of sports always came out with coins. Some were made of silver, some made of copper. Other companies threw them in baseball cards. Topps had a coin collecting series in the 1971 cards. It's just another little way to promote baseball or sports in general.
Heartland sports statues.
My favorites.
Really? Why do you like these?
I just like them because it brings me back to my childhood, and there were 21 of them. Get Grow being the most expensive at about $900.
Why is that?
Because supply and demand again.
Oh, really?
They were made.
Yeah.
And then, of course, spawning probably worth $100.
Foreign spawn.
And and even Babe Ruth is not worth that much because they made a lot of Babe Ruth.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And a side note to that, well, they had the Heartland football that came out, but it was not very successful. So the Heartland company actually destroyed quite a few of those football players. There are still some in existence, but if you can get a Unitas or a Gifford, those are worth some good money.
Really? You don't keep one of these under your pillow or anything?
I keep the Louis Aparicio. I just started a second collection. I sold my first collection.
Oh, really?
For over $5,000.
Oh, that's really good. You can make money on this.
Yes, you got to buy them. You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we'll be talking about that in further webinars.
And in this particular case, you always want to get white statues, not cream color.
Okay. Autograph types. Okay, autograph sports memorabilia is real popular and comes in many varieties. Okay, let's take a look at it. Go ahead.
Okay, there are many ways to get autographs.
Yeah.
Baseball in the middle there. Gilhart is in the sweet spot.
Okay.
Peyton Manning with the football, obviously. If they're singly signed, they're worth more money too. That's how the hobby dictates it. So.
I understand you once caught a pass from Joe Namath.
As I caught a pass from Joe Namath at Jim Nance's program for helping him out with his high blood pressure, and Joe refused to sign the autograph. He told me to run down 20 tables and take a right. I did it. He threw me the ball and came back and signed it. Joe's a cool guy.
He didn't try and kiss you or anything.
No, he didn't.
Oh, that was good. All right. Susie Colbert. Colbert, whatever name was better. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. All right, so now autograph books, which I assume they first of all have to have a book or they write a book. Or
right.
Something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those are neat. Those are found in the inside jacket, or some people have to sign it right on the top of the jacket. But it's just another way to collect.
Okay, so this one is signed by Bobby. This
Yep.
is your book, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty good signature for a
Yes,
athlete.
it is, and that's how Orr signs. I mean, he's got a small, short name, and
That's true. Yeah.
a lot of them try to reproduce it, but
Yeah. Okay. So now this interested me. Why would somebody sign on?
yeah, this was the first way that people would first start collecting autographs on 3x5 cards. And my brother Rick got me involved in that. He'd send it to the Hall of Famer, and he would send you back usually 2 or 3 of his name because he thought it was nice to receive them. That's before hobbies got started and collectibles got started, because now it's a big business.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I imagine it. That's what kind of surprised me about
Yep.
that.
Too bad Ernie passed away. He was a nice man.
And okay, tell me about this Perez.
Perez steels. Every Hall of Famer has their own Perez steel, and it's just autographed. The family has it, and I also have them, and you can get them signed. They stopped producing them in 1981, I guess. They're trying to get them back again.
So all Hall of Fame, baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, every Hall of Fame member has it up to 1981. After that, they don't have them because the company went out of business.
Okay. Now, this is an interesting one. Here's one. What's the story with this one?
And that's a Perez steel with staff and President Bush. I sent it up to Houston, and he signed it, and he wrote me a nice letter. And I show you the examples of where I
Yeah,
sent it.
we'll take a look here in a second.
Right.
Now, what's this?
This is a cool one of President Bush and Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth had 2 months to live, and President Bush wrote me a letter telling me what was going on in it. Babe was giving Yale University some papers, and George Bush accepted them, and he told me that at that time he was dying of throat cancer.
And he signed, George Bush signed it.
Yeah, that's original George Bush, and I also have a letter to go along with that, which is neat.
All right, now, this note from President Bush defied my technical ability at this point to blow it up. So why don't you tell us what that says?
Yeah, it said, Dear Michael, thank you for writing to me, and what's going on in the picture is Babe was giving us some valuable papers for the Yale University Hall of Fame Sports Library, and then he said, and Mike, as you know, he was dying of cancer at that time, and then it was signed George Bush.
Okay, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's different. A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, right. All right, so where can I obtain memorabilia? So that's a good question if you're trying to start out and collect it. One place is?
Yeah, one place are the auction houses. There's quite a few in the country, and you can put them up for bid and buy and sell.
Okay, and that's online.
Yes.
Of course, this is eBay, which is a well-known auction house, probably one of the first.
Right, and it's anything you want is an eBay, and that's going to probably knock out card shows pretty soon because you can get everything at your fingertips.
Has the online auction market inflated the prices?
Yes, because of it. That gets into the collectibles with authenticity. Yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a good point. Because I know in a number of other areas that I am familiar with, people would sort of go to shows and haggle over the price, but and it was the basic trick. It was more important to be able to find the material than so the price tended to stay low because it was hard to find it.
Right.
But with the proliferation of these online things, anybody can see it. So it's brought a lot of affluent people in who might have not had time to go get it.
Yeah, brought a lot of affluent and a lot of people that try to make fast money by not doing it.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that a little later. Okay. All right, now this is a well-known place that sells cards.
Yeah, Kevin Savage. He has a great auction every week, and he's got some nice collectibles on it. And I do a lot of trading with Kevin. He's a nice man.
We're going to try and get Kevin on as a guest in the for the baseball card show, so you can talk to him about that. I noticed it's interesting in the magazine. What is it? The
SCD.
The SCD. Yeah. Kevin has 4 pages of a magazine that's 56 pages long. That's pretty impressive. He has a lot of pages in there.
Yeah, the SCD is a must for a collector because it gives you all the calendar dates and everything. I like it.
Okay. Another way of doing it?
Word of mouth, obviously. People telling people. When I was teaching the 4th grade, I had a parent-student come in because I did such a good job with them. and they brought in a box full of cards. I thought they were new stuff. I didn't want it. Thank God I accepted it because it turned out to be 1956, 57s, and 58
The golden
cards
age, yeah.
in perfect condition. And she didn't want any money for it, so my dad and I decided to give her a $1,000 scholarship fund, and she accepted that. But that was a great find.
Oh, that certainly was. Yeah.
Great find.
Now, I know you taught before, but you actually used the memorabilia to develop a teaching curriculum, didn't you?
Yes, I have a teaching curriculum in literature based for Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese because I got to know Pee Wee Reese very, very well. And I also do a Joe DiMaggio curriculum, and I also do a shot heard around the world with the Giants game.
But you were also using it to teach geography and things like that, weren't you?
Yeah, you can teach geography in terms of where the teams are located.
Right.
Talk about geological features and all this kind of thing. Yes.
And you used to do math like batting averages.
Batting averages and math. Right. Right. You can do a lot with it. In fact, I teamed up with Bob Feller. I knew Bob Feller really well, and Bob Feller actually asked my class to come up with a name for his last book that he printed.
Okay. Let's take a look at card shows. That's been the traditional way of people getting it.
And that's been a great way. That drew all the people out of the closet. They all started to sell their stuff, and then of course you reached a high point, and now I think it's on a downward trend because of eBay.
So if people want information about cards or memorabilia, maybe they can listen to our webinar. We can
our webinar and how to purchase correctly and how to invest. Absolutely.
And then we'll be over the course of the rest of the series looking specifically at a particular item like cards, maybe bobblehead dolls, or maybe combine them. And we hope to get some expert guests to actually come on and show the people on the webinar, their collection and give them explanation of how to buy and sell.
Yeah, and the key thing is buying. You got to buy properly, and there are many ways to do that through my 40 years of experience.
Right, and so we're hoping to do that. We're hoping to do some other things if you have a collection, or maybe even if you live near a major league stadium, an old stadium, or maybe if you have, as an example, you lived in Chicago and have a collection of things from like the old Wrigley Field or old Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Would be inviting people. Would like to hear from you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You can come on and give us a tour of the old stadiums there at Comiskey Park. I guess Wrigley Field hasn't changed at all.
I remember Wrigley Field when you and I went on that trip. The guy sat on the foul pole with his glove.
Yeah, right.
And he said he caught 60 foul balls in a year.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of legends with these older teams, especially like Ebbets Field, which of course now is I think that's the new Prudential Center. I think it's called. What about these flea markets, Mike? You see a lot.
Yeah, flea markets used to be a great place to purchase cards before it got big. My father and I used to go all around to pick up cards. Today it's pretty much dead because everybody knows the value, or if they get a card, they take it to somebody who knows what they're doing. So
what about other memorabilia though, like pennants and gloves or something?
Yeah, that's basically going the same route as the cards go.
Does anybody collect? I know today you watch these shows and they talk about game-worn jerseys and stuff, but nobody was collecting any of that stuff anymore.
And a lot of it got thrown out by the major league teams.
Right, yeah, I'm sure it did, yeah, right. Okay, what about, I suppose what goes for card shows, the educated audience goes to antique shops now too, right?
Yeah, but antique shops know exactly what to charge, and you're not going to get any deals there unless you really need it.
Yeah, right, okay. You're more likely to get it.
Although I do have a fast story on that. I did purchase 2 cards from the 1910 year of bread cards, and they were in original nice shape. I put it on my friend's eBay. I paid $3 each for them, and I sold both of them for $2,500.
Oh, that's a pretty good profit, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I did not know the price, nor did I.
I know from a flea market, someone in California a few weeks ago went out and bought some old computer. Turned out to be one of 200 hand-wired by Steve Jobs and his friend. It was worth $200,000.
You can still find some things, but
They couldn't find her though. Okay, now, over the years, what's the story of authentication? Why has it become popular?
Yeah, well, it's become popular because unfortunately we have the people who enjoy the hobby and get real, genuine autographs, and the people who like to reproduce them and kind of like to take advantage of people and sell them autographs that are not real.
All right, so what's this here? JSA, what do they do?
JSA, PSA, SGC.
All right, well, we'll look at them in a second.
They all do the same thing. They grade cards, and they also grade off autographs to tell you if they're real or not. And I have issues with that.
Okay. Why do you have issues with
I
that?
have issues with it because sometimes they don't know the answers either, and then you take up a piece that you got, like Larry Bird. I got to know Larry really well. I brought a piece up to them, and I know Larry signed it because he was right in front of me, and they refused my piece. That got me upset, and they still charged me $100.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. He says. JSA Services, I assume, is another one?
Yeah, they're all the same.
Okay. And PSA Sports?
Yeah, all the same.
So you just go on, and how do you get the if you're not at a show or something, how do you get the item to these folks?
Okay, what you do is you either go to a show, you sit down, you write out a list, you give them the items that you want, they take it back, or they can grade it right then and there, and then they'll send you back in about a week what the grade is or whether or not it passed. You can also do it at home. You can send out to them in mail. And I think one of the companies actually comes to your house if you have 25 or more items that need to be evaluated. They'll fly right out to your house.
Oh, all right, okay.
That's the newest thing.
Yeah.
There was one company that started before them that would only charge you $10 if the autograph was not real, which I thought was fair, as opposed to charging $100 regardless.
Regardless of what, yeah. Now, Les Wolf, I've been in contact with Les. The reason he's up here is he's been around a while, right?
Yes.
And I guess he's fairly reputable.
Very knowledgeable, has a tremendous collection.
Yeah, right. And one of the things, too, I don't really collect much myself, but I would think, like anything else, if somebody's been around a long time, they're probably okay, right?
Yes.
Because the people who aren't doing business on an up-and-up basis are going to be...
yeah, and you look for the Better Business Bureau seal, or you look for an SCD seal. Yeah, this gentleman's been here a long time. He has some unique pieces.
One of the things that's interesting that, as I was doing this, I ran across Les's YouTube page. You can see the YouTube there. And he has a very interesting 10-part how to start collecting, what to look at. And I was kind of pleased as I was listening to it because we had sort of already put this together that we kind of parallel what he said to some extent. So I felt that he obviously knows more about it than we do.
Right.
At least, the business.
The autograph party does.
Yeah,
I mean,
the business, well, in the business aspect. So I was kind of pleased with that. So that would be my recommendation would be if people get time to go up to YouTube and look at it. I think it's a 10-part. Most of them are like 2 minutes long or less. So it's worth your time to try that. So Les sent me an email on it, and he was suggesting that these are the phases: you collect it, you invest in it, and you preserve and protect it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and we're gonna do preserve and protect.
Yeah, you really
in a few minutes. Yeah. So maintenance. Okay, you're maintaining your collections. Sorry, maintaining your collection's physical condition is an important aspect. And you're talking about like real estate. It's location. It's all, and it's in real estate. It's more location than condition. But in cards, it's all condition, right?
Absolutely.
Unless it's super rare, like
absolutely. And it's how you take care of your cards and your collectibles and your autographs.
Right. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the ways you do that. What's the story?
Well, one way is to put baseball cards in a clear plastic and then in a hard sleeve.
Okay, yeah.
And the PVC, you have to watch out for that because you don't want one that has any PVCs in it.
Yeah, it's like those bottles you drink water out of.
Yeah, it'll stain the cards and everything.
Oh, okay. Now get a frame for protecting the shirts.
Yep, those frames are beautiful to protect the autograph, and it should be in an air-conditioned room.
Oh, okay. So you want not only material you wear to be in the air conditioning, but anything.
At my house, I have it at 70 degrees air conditioned in the summertime.
Okay, and what about in the winter?
Wintertime it's not much of a problem. I keep my doors closed so the heat doesn't go in there and kill it.
Oh, okay. So the point is that the heat that kills it.
Yeah, because the pens can bleed into the uniform and the photos can get bled the markers that you use.
But if it's under a certain degree, that's
Yeah, that's what you have.
probably don't want to freeze them either, but
No.
that's okay. Yeah. All right, let's say if it's a holders of baseballs,
Yeah, and football holders, there's 8x10s for autograph holders, ticket holders, they have everything.
so it's obvious that the baseball holder has a lock on it. What about
Right.
the football?
There's no lock on the football,
They
it
just
just
pick
flips
it.
up.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
well they could probably just
I have one of that with a
the
drum.
holder the baseball looks like it's attached to the wall,
Right.
and the football looks like anybody can just come in and pick
My
it
Joe
up.
Namath ball's in the football one.
Okay. All right, so I guess that's it. So what we've covered? We've covered what things are collected, where can you obtain and sell memorabilia items. We've discussed the authenticity issues, and we discussed how to maintain the collection. So, what's next for the Sports Memorabilia Roundtable? Well, we hope to put a recording of this on the webinar in a few days on YouTube, so you should see it there. As a matter of fact, most of you who are viewing this will be viewing it on YouTube. The next webinar, we will focus on baseball cards. We hope to have a few guests on that are experts in baseball cards. And right now, we're kind of looking at sometime in early August. So that's about it for tonight, folks. We appreciate your attention and attendance. And we'll be putting this up on YouTube within a few days. You'll be getting some emails and other notifications. So we hope you can join us for our next one, which will be focusing on the baseball cards, as we said. The Sports Memorabilia Roundtable is a co-production of Mike DeLong Memorabilia Presentations and Old Stirling Village Media in Andover, Massachusetts. It was presented by
Mike Paul
and Paul Gravlin. You can contact us at SportsMemorabiliaRT@gmail.com. Good night, everyone.